Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Joakim, as usual. And guys, today I'm going to be talking about music once again. So it has been 4 months since I made a video, and in the last video, I was doing a first reaction to an album called Whenever If Ever. And actually, it was quite a short album compared to a lot of the stuff that I do listen to. Like, that album was like 34 minutes, I think, and the stuff that I listened to was like 2 hours. Like, the longest album I've ever listened to was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I mean, even though it was one of the shortest or shorter albums that I've listened to, it was very difficult to edit, and so I just can't really see myself, doing this consistently where I listen to an album while I'm recording it and then I edit all of it, since I'm listening to longer records. Like an average, I listen to an album that's like 40 to 50 minutes, and that's a lot of time and a lot of editing, and I just can't do that consistently. And so I've decided that I'm going to switch this shit up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be listening to albums off camera, and then once every month, I'm going to do a little recap video like this, where, I pick my favorites, I talk about my least favorites and shit of the month. Like, for example, I would do a video at the end of January or the start of February where I talk about my favorite and least favorite albums from January, and boom, you get it right there. And I just talk about it. We can talk about music a little bit. And since I have not done a single of these kind of recap videos in 2023, I have decided that I'm just going to do the whole year. And I'm not going to do all of the albums because I have it written down here. In total, I have listened to 82 albums in 2023. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to take my 5 favorite albums that I've heard in 2023. All right? Now, a quick note before we do start. I am doing this off the top of my head, except for a couple of little information, thingies that I've just got written down, like dates when the album was released and when I listened to it, because I won't remember that. And so I have that written down, but other than that, I have nothing written down. So I'm doing this completely off the top of my head. So if I get something wrong, like some kind of information, feel free to, correct me in the comment section below. Please do that, because, I want you to understand, because there are a lot, I might be talking about shit that's related to why the album is the way it is, and if I get that wrong, then it might not make sense. So, if you find something that's wrong, please correct me in the comment section below. All right, I think that's everything I wanted to say before we begin. Let me think. Yeah, I think so. Besides the fact that you can take this as a kind of, I suppose, recommendation list. I definitely do recommend listening to these albums. They're very, very good. And if you want to, maybe expand your music taste a little bit, if you have not heard of one of these albums, I'm going to be describing what they kind of sound like, what they're about, what they like, and shit. And so if you find any of that interesting, feel free to, listen to one of those. And then you could tell me in the comment section below what you thought of it. And I'm very happy. I'll be very happy to hear what you think. All right. Enough of this little introduction. Yeah. Let's get straight into it with my number 5 pick. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, number 5, my 5th favorite album that I've listened to in 2023 is Leaves Turn Inside You by Unwound. It's an album from 2001. More specifically, it was released on the 17th of April, 2001. And I listened to it on the 31st of August, 2023. Leaves Turn Inside You is an interesting one. You see, it's a mix of a lot of genres, and it's a pretty experimental project, but at the same time, it is a very easily accessible one. It's kind of almost like an introduction to experimental music. It's a mix between this album is a mix between indie rock, post-hardcore, and then a little bit of shoegaze, you could even say. I don't know if this is really that accurate, but I'd maybe even say a little bit of math rock, and it's kind of post-rocky in some cases. And so it's a decently experimental record, but at the same time, I feel like it's very, very accessible to the, casual listener. You're not going to find super crazy build-ups for like 10 minutes except for one song on here. But for the most part, it's just a collection of essentially like 14 songs that are just easy and great, well-done indie rock / post-hardcore. It's just a very, very like accessible project, even though it does get a little bit more experimental in the second half of it. It's an hour and 14 minutes, and it's made of 14 songs, and the first 7 are like just relatively alright. And then as you progress, it starts getting a bit more insane, weird noises, weird drones, and a little bit more of that experimental stuff going on. And I feel like that makes it a really accessible, like, kind of experimental music listening. You know, if you want to get into more just unique music, post-rock, post-whatever the fuck, penis rock, I don't know, bro. Just experimental music, I feel like this is a great place to start because it starts off relatively light. You have to get through a 2-minute synthesizer that just keeps playing the same note, but after that the album begins and it's just relatively good indie rock. And then in the second half it gets a bit more interesting and different. But yeah, I really just love, that's one of the reasons why I love this record. It's just, its natural progression is really cool. It starts off in one spot and then you end in another one by the end of the album. So it's a very interesting listen front to back. Now, I'm not gonna lie. The lyrics, I did not pay too much attention to them. I don't know why, I just didn't. I was really entranced by the instrumentals. I feel like it could be the reason, because the instrumentals on here are really what captivates me the most. I really like them, and they're cool and awesome sauce. All right. Anyways, let's talk about who I'd recommend this to, and then I'm gonna say my favorite and least favorite song. All right. Who would I recommend this to? Like I said, people who want to, get into experimental music, a little bit more experimental. This isn't like super experimental. Like you'll find more unique albums on this list down the line. But this is a pretty good introduction to like mixing, music genres and experimenting with shit. So if you want to try and get into that, then I'd recommend listening to this as a first. And then also just people who like indie rock. I mean, this is a very indie rock heavy album, and if you just want some nice tunes that are kind of darker indie rock, not like, not the kind of typical bright indie rock that's like popular nowadays. Like, this is a little bit darker, but if you're looking for that, then this is a great album for you. Who I would not recommend this to, I guess, I mean, if you're listening to the whole record, then I wouldn't recommend this to people who, don't like listening to music for a long amount of time, because like I said, this is an hour-long record, and it's pretty heavy. It's like an hour long, and in terms of length, it's a lot. Like, most of the songs on here are around 4 to 6 minutes, and then you got Terminus, which is 9, and Below the Salt, which is 10. So, if you don't like long, really slow music, because there are some tracks on here that are quite slow and just build up, like Below the Salt, then you might not enjoy this as much. But if you're a big fan of post-rock, then I feel like you could definitely get some stuff out of this. All right, now let's talk about my favorites and least favorites. I'm going to say that my favorite song off of this album is going to have to be Below the Salt. Some other highlights include December, Terminus, like I said. I'd say as well, I like Radio Gra. Gra. Isn't that the Ice Spice thing? No, hold on. Radio Gra. I'm trying to say it in an American accent. Yeah, it's just like an instrumental track, but it goes hard. And then the ending, Who Cares, is kind of fun. Least favorite track would probably have to be the opener, We Invent You, just because, like, listen, I like just these long introductions, but 2 minutes of one single fucking synthesizer, it's kind of boring. And yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on the record. Would recommend listening to it. It's a very well done record. Yeah, that's my opinion on it. All right, we're gonna move on to number 4 now. It's crazy, I know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to number 4. I'm excited to talk about this one. At number 4, I have Pinkerton by Weezer, released on the 24th of September 1996. I listened to this on the 10th of August 2023. Let's talk about this. Why do I like this record? Well, it's a lot of things. Honestly, this record is an overwhelming plus. It's a very, very well done record instrumentally. This might be a little bit of a weird opinion, but in my opinion, it's very well done lyrically. And the B-sides, I'm just going to talk about, the B-sides on here are fucking crazy. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I think this album might have some of the best B-sides I have ever heard. Let me bring the microphone closer. Let's talk about the first thing, instrumentally. I mean, if you don't know, Weezer are the band who made the Blue Album, this thing. It's going to be around here. This was their first album ever. It was released in 1994. I don't fucking remember. That doesn't matter. It's kind of a power pop album. It's got a bunch of catchy songs. You've probably heard Say It Ain't So. You've probably heard Undone and Body Holly. Those are like the big ones. It was a very popular album that blew up. And then the next album after that was Pinkerton, which was a lot more loud and abrasive and distorted and just a lot more I'd consider, I guess, rock. I don't know how to describe. I hope you know what I mean. But that's why I love this record. It's almost like taking the Blue Album and the kind of Weezer sound that you have there, and then just making it insane. It's a lot more insane and manic. Songs like "Tired of Sex," I love that instrumental. That synth goes hard as fuck. Let me just talk about that real quick. Pink Triangle, that little riff at the beginning, it's so fucking beautiful. It reminds me of Christmas. And then you got songs like "The Good Life," "Across the Sea," which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, that just have beautiful chord progressions and beautiful structures. It clearly shows that Rivers Cuomo leveled up his whole song structuring thing, because if you didn't know, after the Blue Album released, he kind of wanted to stop being a rock star because, the Blue Album blew up and Weezer was huge. And so Rivers didn't really like that, and he instead of being a rock star, he wanted to study classical composition at Harvard, and he did. And he also had to get a leg surgery because one of his legs was shorter than the other, and he became isolated and basically had to stay most of his days in his dorm alone, which actually is a reason why a lot of the themes on Pinkerton revolve around love and loneliness and this kind of depression and stuff. And you can clearly see instrumentally, like musically wise, Pinkerton has leveled up its structure and complexity in terms of bro, holy shit, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut that out, or maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. It has just leveled up its complexity in terms of, like, the music quite a bit. The chords, they go together so well. The little guitar sections, the solos are fire on this thing, let me tell you something. And so I think the music here, like musically, is just a lot better than the Blue Album. And now we're getting to the big part. Lyrics. Pinkerton is a weird one, bro. Okay, so basically the themes on Pinkerton are sad, and then sad but with a wacky little subtext almost. You know what I mean? There are songs that let's say Get You, which is about this abusive relationship. And then you get a song like Pink Triangle where the character in Pinkerton falls in love with a lesbian and then, is disappointed when he finds out that she's a lesbian. That's one of the songs that I'm not even lying, and it goes hard as fuck. The reason why I love the lyrics on Pinkerton is that they are so brutal. This is one of the most honest albums I have ever heard in my life. Rivers holds back nothing. He just throws it all at the world to see. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why Pinkerton was not very well received upon the first release. People didn't like it at first, and now it's become a cult classic. Lyrics don't just go to, I fell in love with a lesbian, They go a little bit deeper, and that's the song Across the Sea, where Rivers talks about getting a letter from an 18-year-old Japanese fan, and because of how desperate for love and, friendship he is, or friendship, just love, because of how isolated he's been from everything, he falls in love with that letter. And there are some creepy ass lyrics in that song, and I will agree, it's a gross fucking song. And then you get some of the best fucking lines you've ever heard in a Weezer track. It's so insane. The fucking what's it called? I forgot the word. I'm gonna put it in if I remember it once I'm editing this. But it's such a weird just mix. It's like great lyrics, and then you get some of the weirdest, grossest shit you've ever heard. And I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but I think Across the Sea is my favorite Weezer track just because of that one little part where Rivers Cuomo sings "Words and dreams and a million screams, oh how I need a hand in mine to feel." That is a beautiful lyric. I'm just gonna be honest right now, all right? So the lyrics are kind of a weird one. So if you aren't very tolerant in terms of gross and weird lyrics, you might not like Across the Sea. I think you're gonna not really hate any other songs, because Across the Sea is a really weird one, and then it just gets kind of normal. There are some questionable lines on other songs, of course, but for the most part, it's just sad, man, honestly. There you go. And now I'm gonna get to another part where I love Pinkerton. Pinkerton is some of the best B-sides I've ever heard in an album. I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams, incredible song. Waiting on You, incredible song. What's the fucking other one called? It just fell in my memory. Getting Up and Leaving, insanely good. A bunch of other ones that are good. Long Time Sunshine, holy shit, that goes hard as fuck. I'm just gonna be honest, the extra songs on Pinkerton are absolutely incredible, and I definitely recommend you listen to. If you're gonna listen to Pinkerton, don't just listen to that. Listen to some of the B-sides as well. I'd definitely recommend I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams, Waiting on You, Long Time Sunshine. Those are my 3 that I definitely recommend, besides just, the main album. So, yeah, who would I recommend this to? If you just want to hear some nice solos and some just some good pop punk, then you can go for this. If you're looking for an emo experience, this is the one for you as well. Who would I not recommend this to? I don't know. Fucking people who don't like weird lyrics, because you're not going to like this. You're not going to like some of the songs on here, But other than that, I think this album is relatively, it's an easy one to listen to. It's just power pop, pop punk, and it's a well-done power pop, pop punk album at that. All right, favorite songs. Across the Sea, Pink Triangle. I'm going to go with Tired of Sex is a fire one. El Scorcho is so fucking weird, but I love it. Butterfly. And another one that I'm going to throw in there is The Good Life. My least favorite song, I would have to think about it. Probably Get You. I don't know. I just don't I don't see myself coming back to that one a lot. Or maybe Why Bother. One of those 2. Yeah, that's my opinion on Pinkerton. Whoa, we're already 2 in. It's time for I was about to show it here. Number 3, guys. The 3rd favorite album that I've listened to in 2023. Let's get it, dude. I'm going to have to take a sip of my water for this. So. Ladies and gentlemen, at number 3, I have... this one's going to be fucked up. If you thought Pinkerton was depressing, get ready for this one. At number 3, I have the self-titled album by Giles Corey. This thing was released on the 1st of March, 2011. And I listened to it on the 6th of December, so pretty recently. Giles Corey by Giles Corey, if you don't want to call it the self-titled project, is fucked up. This is, and I'd say, unironically, this might be the most depressing music that I've ever heard. Giles Corey is a solo project by musician Dan Barrett. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, as he's one of the 2 people in the band Have a Nice Life. And Giles Corey is his folk acoustic project. It features a lot of acoustic guitars, horns, and just this kind of something similar to, I can't think of any folk musicians on the spot, but I hope you know what I mean. It's an acoustic project is essentially what it is. And pair this acoustic quality of it with some of the most depressing lyrics you've ever heard and a very eerie and haunting atmosphere, and you've got Giles Corey. I'm just gonna talk about this right away. The first song is fucked up, alright? It's so fucking haunting and scary. It's very fitting name. It's called The Haunting Presence. And it's just this weird, it doesn't even feel like a song. It just feels like he's saying shit. That's absolutely horrifying. There is this part where he has a quiet vocal where he's whispering, and then a loud ass screaming vocal just is placed on top of that, and it is so scary, dude. I fucking hate that song, but I also love it because it's so well done. Jesus Christ. I can't get enough of this album. It is such a well done portrait of depression. Not only instrumentally is this thing great, the lyrics on here are so fucking well done, dude. I genuinely cannot get enough of this. I listen to songs like Spectral Bride, Blackest Bile, and Grave Filled with Books. I listen to those regularly. I love those. And then there are moments where I'm feeling down, and I listen to I'm Gonna Do It, where he literally sings I'm Gonna Kill Myself. Yeah, this album it's not a happy one, is all I'm gonna say, alright? If you are looking for some sad acoustic music, this is definitely the album for you. I'm just gonna say it right away, because this shit gets sad. If you get past the first song, get to Blackest Bile sounds upbeat, and then you get some fucking horrible lyrics with it. It's sad lyrics with it. This album, it's kind of weird in that sense, because it feels upbeat. Like songs like Spectral Bride, if you just take the instrumental, it sounds happy. It sounds like a little happy, upbeat, folk acoustic song. And then you look at the lyrics, and he's talking about how he's probably gonna die, but he loves this one person, so once he dies and becomes a ghost, he wants to stay by their side. That's fucked up. That seems like someone who is very, very sad. Also, if you're wondering, Dan Barrett is still alive. He's doing a lot better now from what I've read. He has a wife and 2 kids, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, this is just kind of, I guess, a memory of his past and his experiences with depression. What the fuck? I thought I broke my chair. I didn't break my chair. Oh, we're good. But yeah, he's doing a lot better now. He's still making music under many different aliases. I think he's released a new record recently under the alias Blackwing. So if you want to go check that out, you can go for it. I'm gonna link it in the description. I'm gonna link all of these albums in the description. I already forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, so this album was just a very sad but very well done portrayal of depression. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely sad. That one part at track "No One Is Ever Going to Want Me," where he starts screaming 1 2 fuck you, and then the horns come in and they start fucking doing crazy shit. I love that part. That part's awesome. And also the song "Buried Above Ground." I love horns, all right, man. I love when horns and wind instruments are featured, and "Buried Above Ground" is one of my favorites. Even though it's MIDI, it sounds so good. Like, MIDI horns are usually ass, but they're pretty good here. I'm pretty sure they're MIDI horns. If they aren't, you can tell me. I'm not sure. Yeah, just a great project overall. Great instrumentals, great lyrics, and we're gonna talk about another part of this. There's a book. If you order Giles Corey, the vinyl or the CD, I don't know if either one. If you order either one, I'm pretty sure you get a little booklet that explains a fictional story. I love Dan Barrett because he does this not just with Giles Corey, but with his other band, Have a Nice Life. He makes these little booklets for the album that, talks about this fictional story that's related to the album. There's in the Giles Corey booklet, it talks about a lot about ghosts, and then Robert Vore, which is this fictional cult leader, I'm pretty sure, who invents Vore's head device, which you put on your head and you hallucinate and are able to communicate with dead people. It's really weird. And it actually links to the album in quite a nice way. For example, in the first track, The Haunting Presence, there's a part in the end where the character in the story puts on Vore's head device while sitting next to a piano. He starts, recording himself. And then he just passes out, and when he wakes up and plays himself the recording, he just hears himself smashing the fucking piano and screaming. And it's a very, very interesting story and booklet. So yeah, I recommend. You can definitely find PDFs online, so if you want to read it, I'm gonna try and see if I can find any of those. I know I found the Have a Nice Life booklet, which we're gonna be talking about, like I said, later in the video. So I'm gonna link that. I'll try and find the Giles Corey booklet, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see that, I guess. Wow, I started yapping there. Sorry. Let's talk about it. Who would I recommend this to? Honestly, if you want to have a good life, just don't listen to this. I'm gonna be honest. This thing is fucking depressing as shit. If you are an enjoyer of depressing music like me, this is the album for you. If you also like acoustic music, another thing. If you're just tolerant to sad music and you like acoustic shit, this is for you. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend this to someone who wants to be happy in their life, because this thing is sad as fuck. Alright, I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah, anyways, let's go to my favorite tracks and least favorite. Favorite tracks. No One Is Ever Going to Want Me. Buried Above Ground. What else? Spectral Bride is fire. Blackest Bile. Grave Filled with Books, and I'm Gonna Do It. And then the least favorite, I'd say, is probably Empty Churches. But I still like that one a lot. Like, just because it's my least favorite, I still think it's an incredible track. Alright, so, yeah. Alright, that was my number 3. We're moving on to number 2. Alright, number 2. Yeah, number 2. Alright, let's get it, guys. Alright. My number 2. Alright, guys. At my number 2 spot, I have LP1 by American Football, alright? Released on the 14th of September, 1999. I listened to this on the 29th of January. It was one of the first things that I listened to in 2023. And it took a while to grow on me, I'm gonna be honest. This thing, like, the first time I listened to it, I was like, yeah, this is good, but there are a lot of songs that I won't come back to. And then The summer came along, I started listening to it more, and then by the end of the year, it was my 5th favorite record of all time, and it still is. It's a very, very good record. I love every single song on here. Genre-wise, it's kind of Midwest emo. And this is gonna piss some people off. I'd say it's kind of math rock, not completely, but it's kind of math rock. I mean, it's got odd time signatures and shit like that. So I'd consider it sort of math rock. Math rock fans are seething in their seats right now. But shut the fuck up and kill your... No, don't kill yourself. I'm kidding. Yeah, American Football is just a really beautiful album. It's very... The guitar parts on here are very twinkly. It's clean. It's clean guitars. Horns, which I fucking love. There's a trumpet on here on some tracks. Oh my god, it hits every time it appears on the album. Just these little nice build-ups. Kind of reminds me of post-rock, for example, on tracks like Stay Home, where the thing just builds up for 3 minutes, and then it just jumps straight into it. Love when you do that. Love when artists do that. Yeah, I just love this thing. I don't know what to tell you, man. If you like slow, it's kind of like slow music, because this is a very slow album. It's just kind of slow and very beautiful sounding. I recommend you listen to this. This thing is great in that regard. Lyrically... American Football, the lyrics are catchy, they're easy to remember, and they have meaning. It's a pretty sad album. It's about, it's emo. So what do you think it's about? But I like the lyrics. I feel like they're very vague, which can help you, kind of live yourself into the story. But I guess it kind of takes away from the meaning that the lyrics could have. But still, I think the lyrics are good. I just think that the instrumentals really heavily carry this project. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to describe even Midwest emo, because I hope you understood what I mean when when I'm talking about Midwest emo. If I were to kind of try and describe it, and this is a very simplified, don't kill me for this, all right? But this is a very simplified version. Basically, imagine emo, and then like kind of make it more jazz, like just take indie rock, make it a little bit more jazz, and then take emo and put it into that, and you got a Midwest emo. It's kind of what it is. It's difficult to describe, but I'm trying to kind of associate it with that. So it's kind of like emo jazz, sort of, you could say. I guess not like loud distorted guitars. There's very little of that. This thing is clean. It's clean, slow, and beautiful, very twinkly and nice. So yeah, if you want to hear some nice slow tunes, this thing is for you. You want to hear some sad lyricism, this thing is also for you. This thing is not for people who are die-hard math rock fans, because they're just gonna get pissed every time they hear this. If you don't know the whole dilemma, because I've been mentioning this so far, American Football is described as math rock by some people, and then the really annoyed math rock fans are like, no, that's not math rock, and it's just like this huge big issue, So I don't know. If you're a math rock fan, you might not like this. I don't fucking know, bro. Just go fuck yourself. I'm kidding myself. I'm kidding myself. That doesn't even make sense. I don't know what to say, dude. I don't know who I would not recommend this to. If you're like My Chemical Romance emo as well, you might not like this, because this is not loud but quiet. I don't fucking know, bro. I think this project is very easy to listen to, and I think most people could easily listen to this without having much trouble. It's a very easy to listen to thing. So I don't think there are any people who will not like to listen to this. It's a relatively short album. It's nice. It's just relaxing, chill. It's good, and it's a little bit sad. That's what you get. All right. So I don't know if I would not recommend this to someone. I think anyone can listen to this and not have a problem with it. All right. Favorite tracks. Stay Home plus the one with the Wurlitzer. They're split on the actual album. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, Stay Home with the one with the Wurlitzer is fucking fire. Never Meant, The Summer Ends, for sure. I'll See When We're Both Not So Emotional. And Honestly, probably my favorites. Yeah. And least favorite, I'm going to go with You Know I Should Be Leaving Soon, because it's just an instrumental track. But the instrumental is still good. Yeah, recommend listening to that. There you go. That's number 2. We are going to be moving on to not number 1. Whoa, hold on. We got some honorable mentions to go through. And I'm just going to go through these quickly right away. I'm not going to really describe them in too much detail. But these are other albums that I've heard this year that I really liked. I'm not going to describe them in detail, like I said. let's just get straight into it. Honorable mentions that I have here. Atrocity Exhibition by Danny Brown, released in 2016. I don't know when I listened to this. I don't have that written down here. It's experimental hip hop. It's fire. Favorite tracks: When It Rain, or no, my most favorite: Ain't It Funny, Gold Dust, White Lines, Lost, Really Dough, a bunch of them. It's a 15-song album, so there's quite a bit. OK Computer by Radiohead. This is my second or third favorite Radiohead album. It's good, it's fire, but it did not make the list, sadly. Favorite tracks: Let Down, that's easy. Let Down, Paranoid Android, Subterranean Homesick Alien, Exit Music for a Film, and The Tourist. I really like that one. And Lucky. Next up, we got Is This It by The Strokes. This shit is one of the first albums I've listened to in 2023, and it's fire as well. Post-punk revival, kind of like Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights if you heard, but not just as dark. It's just good post-punk, honestly. Favorite tracks, I don't know, Last Night, I literally forgot the fucking name. Someday, The Modern Age, Barely Legal, and what's the fucking one called? Alone Together. That one's fire. Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, and then you got Souvlaki by Slow Dive. Both are shoegaze, basically the essential shoegaze albums. Loveless is like the more noisy one out of the two, while Souvlaki is the more dreamy one. So if you like more kind of psychedelic music, listen to Souvlaki. If you want noise, Loveless is the one for you. Favorite tracks off of Loveless would have to be When You Sleep. That sounds creepy now. To Hear Knows When is fire. Only Shallow. And also What You Want. That one's fire. Souvlaki, favorite songs off of there: Allison. But my favorite is probably Souvlaki Space Station. That one's good. When the Sun Hits. And also Sing. I like that one. There you go. And then we got 2 albums by King Crimson, alright? In the Court of the Crimson King, and then Red. These ones are old. Red was released, I think, 1974. Yeah, 1974. In the Court of the Crimson King, 1969. These are some old prog rock records. So if you're looking for some good prog rock, this is the shit for you. Court of the Crimson King, while it's a really good record, and most people view it as the best King Crimson album, I think Red is better. I'm just going to be honest, because it has Starless on it, alright? I'm just going to say it. So yeah, favorite tracks off of Red: Starless, Fallen Angel, One More Red Nightmare. Boom, there you go. Court of the Crimson King, favorite tracks: Epitaph, 21st Century Schizoid Man, In the Court of the Crimson King. There you go. Long Season, this is a 35-minute song by Fishmans. It's fire, it's psychedelic, it's a bunch of shit. It's very experimental, and if you have the time to listen to it, I recommend it. It's a very, very beautiful, calming, dreamy experience. I love it. It's very good. And now we got the final honorable mention, Illmatic by Nas. Give me a second, we're going to drink some water. Illmatic by Nas, boom bap. It's East Coast hip hop. 1994. This is like the staple hip hop album. If you want to get into old hip hop, this is where you should begin. Great hooks, great verses, great beats. Basically everything's perfect on this. It's like it's basically a perfect hip hop record. All right. So yeah, that's my honorable mentions. Now we're gonna get into the number 1 spot. This is my number 1 spot, number 1 album. This is their plural. Number 1 album plus another one. Bro, I don't know how to describe it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the number 1 spot, but there are 2 in the number 1 spot because I just couldn't decide which one was better. Alright, so yeah, this is gonna be crazy, guys. Check this out. I'm gonna do a transition. No, I'm not. Alright, let's get it. Number 1, alright? Ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, I have 2 albums, not just one. It's kind of crazy. I couldn't decide which one was better, so I just put both of them at number 1. I have Kid A by Radiohead, and then I have Death Consciousness by Have a Nice Life. Kid A came out on the 2nd of October 2000. Death Consciousness came out in 2008 on the 24th of January, all right? I listened to Kid A on the 10th of June, and I listened to Death Consciousness on the 30th of September. I know, a lot of dates. We're gonna start off with Death Consciousness first because I have a little surprise over here with Kid A that I want to talk about and show. Death Consciousness is the debut album by band Have a Nice Life, made up of Dan Barrett, who is Giles Corey, like I talked about before, and Tim McCouga. It's drone. It's a mix between drone and ambient music, and mixing that with rock and post-punk, and it's just a very experimental project. And not only is it experimental, it's very, very depressing. This thing is not happy at all. I mean, it literally has death in the name, and it's a very nihilistic project talking about there are songs on here that talk about a hunter killing God with a barrage of arrows. There are songs where Dan Barrett just sings, I don't want to live at all. There are songs fucking about golems destroying, golems, that's how you say it. Golems, fucking, like the big stone boys destroying Earth. But they can't create anything. They can only destroy. So once they destroy everything, they have nothing to live for, and so they just want to die, but they can't. So that's kind of crazy. I don't fucking know. It's like eternal suffering and shit. This project's insane. I'm just gonna say it simply. This is like it is a powerhouse of a record. Not only is it depressing and has really weird themes, Death Consciousness is an hour and 34 minutes, or 24, sorry. Hour and 24 minutes, I'm pretty sure. It is a long, long record, and you need patience, and you need working ears, because there are some parts that get loud on here. There are heavy shoegaze influences on this. And for example, at the end of the final track, Earth Mover, you just have a wall of sound. Or I Don't Love, that instrumental is literally, again, wall of sound. You have a lot of these songs that are just so much noise. It's beautiful, but it's pretty loud. So if you don't like loud music, then I don't really recommend listening to this too much. But of course, there are quieter songs. For example, I guess Who Would Leave Their Son Out in the Sun, and the opening track, a quick one, Before the Eternal Worm Devours Connecticut. That's a quiet song. It's just an acoustic guitar and some kind of weird synthesizer womps and boops and beeps and boops. Yeah. Another thing about this is Death Consciousness has, like, the songs on here are long. Like, it's on average, I'd say, like, 6 to 7 minutes. Longest track on here is the final one, 11 minutes. Shortest is, I think, 3 minutes. So, if you're not a fan of long songs, fuck you, I guess. I'm kidding. But the real reason why I love Death Consciousness is just not only the instrumentals, the absolute insanity in the lyrics, like I already talked about. Dude killing God with a barrage of arrows, and then there is a song that describes God getting fucking eaten alive by, like, animals, and he's like, I give up, I no longer cling to my life, or something. It's a horrifying album in some cases. And like I said, with Giles Corey, Death Consciousness also comes with a little booklet. This one describes the teachings of Antiochus, and it just delves into nihilism. I haven't read the booklet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, if you want to read it, I've found that one, so I'll put the PDF in the description for you to download. Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? I don't fucking know. So that's Death Consciousness, who I would recommend this to. If you love post-punk and a lot of very loud shoegaze, this is the shit for you. If you don't, then this is not the shit for you. If you don't like sad music, this is also not for you. If you're Christian, or if you believe in a god and you don't like God being killed, this is also not for you. I don't fucking know, bro. Favorite songs off of this album would have to be my favorite, like the one that I come back to the most, The Big Gloom. I love that fucking part where it just, like, where the drums come in. That shit goes hard. Blood Hail, Earth Mover. Really, basically every song on here is, in my opinion, perfect. So I don't really have any least favorites. All the songs on here are great. All right. Now we've got the second one on the top one spot, and that is Kid A by Radiohead. I left this one for last because of a very special thing that I have here with me. What if I just, like, literally invited Tom York into the room? That would be crazy. No, I'm kidding. What I got is, you see, I bought a turntable a couple of weeks ago for Christmas. And guess what I got? I got Kid A vinyl. This shit is crazy. I love it, dude. It's awesome. I listened to it once already, and it's fire. Let's talk about Kid A, though, and then I'm going to show you the vinyl. Yeah, let's get it. So, Kid A is Radiohead's most experimental effort. Well, actually, no, not really. I'd say Amnesiac is more experimental, but we're not going to talk about that. It is a very experimental album. It basically kind of takes the rock from OK Computer and then really throws in a shit ton of electronic music and a lot of other shit there. It's just a very different album. I mean, you got sections where there are literal fucking brass bands just playing their heart out, like on the song The National Anthem. Then you got the fucking songs where it's just acoustic guitar and this beautiful orchestral shit. It's such a varying album. Like, the further you go into it, the more you realize there is not a single same song. It all is really unique and different. It's my favorite album just because I love the instrumentals and the way they make me feel. How to Disappear Completely is beautiful. Motion Picture Soundtrack is probably the most depressing fucking Radiohead song I've ever heard. And it's also one of the most beautiful ones I've ever heard. In Limbo it just throws you into a trance, and so does Kid A and Everything in Its Right Place. The National Anthem is absolute mania, and I fucking love it. And the song that you're probably hearing in the background right now, I don't know if I put it into the background, but I probably will. Tree Fingers is a great ambient song, all right? So, overall, this thing is just incredibly solid. I'm going to be honest. It is 10 incredible tracks that I love very deeply and come back to quite often. If you don't like long songs but like experimental music, I recommend listening to this because Kid A is very experimental and the songs aren't that long. The longest one on here is, I think, 6 minutes. And for the most part, it's like 3 to 4 on like every track here. So yeah, if you like shorter music, this is for you. This album's like 47 minutes. It's not any more than an hour. Yeah. Who I would recommend this to besides, you know, what I just said? I guess people, I don't know, people who like electronic music, because there's quite a lot of it on here. Who I would not recommend this to: people who only like OK Computer and the Bends. People who listen to rock and don't like, you know, electronic music. You're not gonna like this one. I you know, listened to this with my friend. I re-listened to this with my friend, and she really likes OK Computer. She didn't really like anything besides How to Disappear Completely and Motion Picture Soundtrack. So if you don't like electronic music, then you're not gonna like this, which sucks because this thing is absolutely fire. I'm gonna drink this later. Favorite tracks, all of them. Yeah, all of them. Like I said, just like with Death Consciousness. All right, now I'm going to show you, before I leave, wow, I've been recording for an hour. I'm going to cut this down, so it's going to be around like 40 minutes maybe. Who knows? Now it's time to show you something. The fucking Kid A vinyl, all right? I got it right here. It is a 2 LP vinyl. You got one half of the songs in one little vinyl record, and then the other one, other half in the other record. Fucking don't know how to describe it. You can see here's the album cover. Beautiful. I love this album cover. I'm just gonna be honest. On the back, I don't know if you can read it, but here you got the track list and this little weird fucking glitchy shit. If you open it up, I'm gonna try and make sure that it doesn't fall out. Mountains. You got mountains, and then you got inside of here you got the 2 different vinyls. I'm not gonna pull them out right now. I'm just gonna leave it be. But yeah, cool, very, very nice. I love listening to it on vinyl. It's a very good vinyl. Love it, dude. I don't know what else to say. Jesus Christ, that was a long video. I just yapped for like 40 years straight. All right, that's it for me, everyone. Jesus Christ, I need to stretch. There you go. That's it from me. If you made it through this entire thing, I love you. Mwah. Well, that was fucking gay. No, it wasn't. I'm kidding around. I'm goofing. I'm a goofball. If you made it through this entire thing, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. This was literally the length of like one podcast. I could have made a podcast about this. That's crazy. I don't know what else to say. It's a banger. All of these albums, I recommend you listen to them if you're interested. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say, dude. Shout out fucking penising and balls. Shout out balls, bro. They're kind of cracked. All right. I've had enough of talking. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed my little retrospective review on each and one of these albums. The background music that you've heard in this video are going to be cuts from each of these albums. So, yeah. Fuck you. I don't fucking know, bro. I'm kidding. Don't. No, dude. Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm gonna just end the video. Thank everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time at the end of January and in like February. Bye. Oh my god.